Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at Gods of the Orcs from Dragon 62. This is the series of articles that was published by Dragon in 1982. This is the last of the deities that we have to take a look at, and it's Gods of the Orcs, which was a good one. This particular article had a big effect on my campaign. Orcs have always been one of my favorite bad guys in all of D&D, so I was able to really expand on orcs and tribes and things like that through that article. Also want to remind everybody, I'm still trying to build a channel, so if you haven't subscribed yet, come on in to subscribe. Also remember, there's a Patreon going, trying to increase my technology a little bit, maybe get access to more product that I haven't had in a long time, or haven't had access to, that sort of stuff. So if you could take a look at the Patreon, if it's something you can help out with, that'd be wonderful. But that's it for the sales pitch today. Dragon 62, Gods of the Orcs. Before we look at Dragon 62, we need to take a look at the chief of the orc gods, Grumpsh. He of the one eye. He is, of course, a greater god. He's the father of the pantheon, 350 hit points. He has 75% MR. He's lawful evil. His worshipper's alignment is lawful evil, orcs. His symbol is the unwinking eye, and he lives in the 9 hells. He operates a 15th level cleric, using only destructive spells, no healing for him. Fighter is a 16 hit dice monster, 16 plus hit dice monster. Magic user and illusionist, he goes to 6th level magic user, and an 8th level assassin. The orcs have many gods, but their leader is Grumpsh. His name is never spoken by non-shaman orcs, who refer to him as he who watches or he who never sleeps. His symbol is a great unwinking eye. Grumpsh is said to see all. He commands a mighty army of spirit orcs in hell, and they war continuously on the spirit goblins controlled by Maglubiet. The orcs always defeat the goblins, but the goblin spirits always reform to start the battle again. And it's interesting because Grumpsh actually has been depicted in 2 ways in D&D. He's been depicted as a one-eye god, with the eyes in the center, a la Leela from Futurama. But he's also been depicted as a god who had 2 eyes at one point and lost an eye. So it's really up to you to decide which way you want to use Grumpsh. I kind of like the mono eye myself. Just the one big eye in the middle, the Cyclops look. It's just kind of neat. So there is Grumpsh, chief of the Orc Pantheon. We're going to move this out of the way, and we're going to jump into Dragon 62. This issue was from June of 82. Got some nice info on dragons in here. Everything You Never Knew About Spellbooks by Gary Gygax. This was actually a really helpful article in its day, because we really didn't know the composition, the physical makeup of spellbooks. Pages from the Mages by Ed Greenwood. And boy, you got a lot in Dragon magazine back in those days. An NPC, the Scribe. And the half-orc. They're rude and crude, and so's their point of view. This is by Roger Moore. This was an interesting article that was part of the deities article that they were doing, the orc point of view. We take a look at half-orcs and their place in society and how they feel. The way I've always run half-orcs, and half-elves for that matter, is whichever society they were raised in. So whichever parent they were raised with. If they were raised in orc society, then they would be more orc-like. If they were raised in human society, then they would be more human-like. Same with half-elves. If they were raised with elves, they'd be more elf-like. If they were raised with humans, they'd be more human-like. So it's just how I've always done it. And now we come to the Gods of the Orc. Gods of the Orcs. The word from above, make war, not love. And this again is by Roger Moore. This was one of my favorites of this entire series. It gave us a really nice look at orcs as a whole, but specifically at their worship. And we'll start out with Yurtrus. He is a lesser god, 303 hit points, 75% MR. He's neutral evil with lawful tendencies. His worshipper's alignment is assassins and those who worship or profit from death, orcs and half-orcs. His symbol is a white hand on dark background. He is from Hades. He operates a 15th level cleric, again, destructive spells only. He fights a 13 hit dice monster. He's got some special magic use and illusion, and he operates a 15th level assassin. This is an interesting god. It's not one I've ever used in my campaign. He would be a good god of disease. He's the Orcish god of death and disease. He appears vaguely orcish, covered with rotting green flesh. He's surrounded by a huge envelope of stinking gases out to 120 feet. He has nasty effects on any mortals. Utrus, in addition to his clerical spells, uses all death magic spells of 18th level magic users. He may try to touch his victims instead of using his spells. Any being he touches loses 312 points and will catch 1 to 4 random diseases. The loss of hit points will be permanent unless recovered by a wish spell on a 1 per 1 point basis. So you don't really want to encounter this guy. I've never really used him. He's an interesting god, but I never really did much with him. But now we get to Shargas. Shargas, a lesser god. He's armor class 2, 265 hit points, 65% MR. He's alignment is neutral evil. His worshipper's alignment is thieves, assassins, and those who do evil by darkness, or orcs and half-orcs. His symbol is a red crescent moon with red skull between the horns, and he lives in Gehenna. He fights as a 10 hit dice monster. He has powers of a 7th level illusionist. Works as a 16th level monk, 15th level assassin, 16th level thief, 15th level assassin, and can fight as a 10th level monk. He is the Night Lord who lives in a tremendous cavern system below the fiery plane on one of the levels of Gehenna. It said his caves extend infinitely and are darker than the blackest night. No creature has sight but Shargas himself and Orcish spirit servants. Shargas, though blinded completely by light from the sun, can see perfectly well in darkness. He can climb any surface, even walk perfectly smooth ones without slipping. As might be expected, Orcish bandits and half-Orcish thieves hold Shargas as their patron. Not a ton on this guy. I actually used him. I had an orc tribe that worshipped him, and they favored darkness. They struck by night and things like that. It was an older game. It was probably right around the time this article was written. So orc infravision was kind of a big deal still. So that ended up being a fun game. It only went about 2 or 3 games where I was actually dealing with the tribe of Shargas worshippers, but I had a lot of fun with it. Bogtrue, he's a lesser god. He's armor class 1, 340 hit points, magic resistance 35%. He's lawful evil. His worshippers are lawful evil warriors, orcs and half-orcs. His symbol is the broken thigh bone. He lives in the 9 hells. He fights as a 16 plus hit dice monster. He has powers of a 6th level assassin. That's it. He is the son of Grumpsh, and Luthik, the cave mother. Although scorned and derided for his stupidity and lack of self-will, no one can say anything about his might. He's got a 25 strength. Other Orcish gods call him for assistance. He's always obedient. He uses his strength. Basically, if it can be hit, he'll hit it. If it can be broken, he'll break it. It's said that he once fought a tremendous reptilian monster from another world and slew it barehanded by breaking all of its legs. His symbol of the broken thigh bone comes from that battle. He's an incredibly muscular orc with dirty tan skin and dull green eyes. And clerics must have a minimum strength of 16 to worship him. I actually did a lesser character. It was a half-orc NPC that was a Bogtrue worshiper, and he was a half-orc fighter cleric. And I don't limit the levels that they can go to. So in my NPC, he was about 7th, or he was like 8th level cleric, 7th level fighter. But I had him with an exceptional strength, like an 1865 strength or something like that. He was a very interesting NPC. He popped up in my campaign off and on for quite a while. Next, we come up to Ilnival. He's a lesser god, AC -1, 331 hit points. His MR is 55%. He's lawful evil. His worshipper's alignment is lawful evil warriors, orcs and half-orcs. His holy symbol is the bloodied broadsword. He lives in the 9 hells. He has powers of an 8th level cleric. He fights a 15 hit dice monster and has the powers of a 14th level assassin. When Grumpsh does not have time to command the armies in hell, he turns the job over to his chief lieutenant, Ilnival, master of command and strategy. Next to Grumpsh, of course. He is the symbol of the leader type, and he's always kind of looking for ways that maybe, Grumpsh isn't all that great. Maybe I can go ahead and take his place one of these days. So Grumpsh always has his eye on Ilnaval. And then we come to Luthik. Luthik is the only female orc goddess brought out here. AC 3, 287 hit points. She's a lesser goddess. 80% MR. She's lawful evil. Her worshiper's alignment is females, orcs, and half-orcs, and those who need healing or sanctuary. Her symbol is the cave entrance rune. She lives in the 9 hells. She has the powers of a 15th level cleric. She fights a 12 hit dice monster. She has 12th level magic user and 12th level illusionist powers, and 6th level thief and 6th level assassin powers. She is the goddess of female orcs, orcish fertility, and more so for the females. Grumpsh is the male god of fertility, caves and caverns, servitude, and primitive medicine. And she helps restore orcish morale. She is the deity closest to Bogtru, her son, and he will follow her commands over all others, even those of his daddy Grumpsh. Her claws, her long, nasty claws, will cut rock no problem. They're very powerful. They don't break off. She appears as a huge female orc wearing no armor, but unbreakable black claws 4 feet long. Her hair and eyes are dull black, with her skin is dark brown with a medium brown on the nose and ears. When in contact with the ground, she regenerates 3 hit points per round. So that's pretty cool too. She could be an Earth Mother, literally. She has magic spells, and the orcs who follow her worship sometimes rub dirt on themselves to ensure they will have many children. And clerics use earth in casting curative spells, although they don't really need to. So pretty interesting. Then we get a quick clerical reference chart. It's just a quick breakdown of all the deities brought out here, their spheres of influence and such. So these were invaluable in 1982. We did not have any information on gods beyond deities and demigods. That was the only source we had for gods prior to these articles and others like it. Dragon Magazine was absolutely the touchstone for current D&D back 40 years ago. And I still pull them out, obviously. I pull them out and read them all the time. They've got so much good stuff. There is a gag in here I wanted to point out in the thing of the half-orcs. There's an unusual tribe that worships a picture that's been found of this beautiful orc. And they worship her. There's only about 100 or so people that actually worship her, but she's considered to be this great beauty. But no one's sure if it's really just a picture or if it's a real deity. And her name is Ms. Piggy. Not kidding. It's in the article. Interesting that they throw a gag like that in here. I liked it. Here we go. All follow the ways of the mysterious goddess known as Ms. Piggy. So any Muppet fan, Miss Piggy, yeah, we're making a joke about the orcs' pig-like faces, and there it is. So that's the entire article. That's the series of the non-human deities. I hope you enjoyed this series. I did. There are plenty of other gods that were featured in Dragon Magazine, so I will still be looking to do a few more of these down the line. And that's it for today. If you liked what you heard and saw, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions for future D&D videos, please let me know. I'll be happy to take a look at them. And I'll see you next time on page 121.